As you know, I am a university professor, and summertime is when we get to start to refresh. We conclude a semester, we have the summer coming on, and it's time to start thinking about fall semester already. Just got my classes posted for the summer, getting ready to get those ready and prepared. I have a book deadline due by Friday. I have all the chapters and all the units done. I'm doing the videos and editing, and we'll have those submitted, and the book will be complete and ready for editing after Friday. So it's a new beginning for me, because now I have 2 other book deadlines that are coming on and other things getting ready for it. But it's time for us to rethink, reevaluate, reconsider where we are. And as Toastmasters, that should be an every week event for us, as refreshing and thinking about where we are with our speaking talents, with our leadership traits, and how we can move forward. That's an ongoing process that we should think about continually. So I want you to think about that. As the word of the day that we're going to hear from a grammarian, imperative, it's imperative that we think about and consider this. We cannot change if we do not know or learn something different. It's imperative we consider the possibility. With that, I want to now call on our general evaluator to have helpers come up and tell us what we need to do here. Come on.
I'll be evaluating the meeting today, and I've got some helpers that will be helping me. So my evaluators, my helpers are Ariel is going to be doing our timer report. Would you tell us what you're going to be doing today?
Absolutely. As time master and keeper, I will be keeping track of our timing. So we have one speech today, I believe. KO, how long is?
5 to 7 minutes.
So one 5 to 7 minute speech. So at 5 minutes, I'll show him the green card. That means that you're doing great. You're almost done. Yellow at 6 minutes, and then red at 7 minutes. And at the red, then he'll have 30 seconds to wrap up his final thoughts. I will also be keeping track of our table topics times. I believe that the window for those is 1 to 2 minutes, but as a club we've decided to work on exercising our mental inside clock, so I won't be showing cards, but I will be keeping track.
And then also we'll have one evaluator.
And then,
also.
yeah, I'll do the evaluator.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Ariel. And with the thin meeting, we have a dual role member helping us out today. Tara will be doing grammarian and counter. Would you tell us what you'll be doing in those 2 roles?
As the counter, I will be keeping track of ahs, ums, you knows, long pauses, and other habits that we have to kind of fill the space. I will also, as the grammarian, be keeping track of the use of the word of the day, any incorrect usage of the English language, any creative usage of the English language, and I will give a report for both of those at the end of the day. And the word of the day is imperative. Share that with you. So imperative, its meaning is urgent, not to be avoided or evaded. So an example, by 9 a.m. today, it is imperative that I drink my coffee. We've already had one usage of it.
Thank you, Tara. Well, that is my evaluation helpers, and I will be calling on them later to give their reports. And at this time now, it's imperative on me to call back our table.
Thank you very much, Don. This must be the Don and Mark sideshow. Handing off the role. It is my pleasure to introduce our next speaker. He's working on his pathway of
Innovative
planning.
Yes,
And
right.
he's working on his 3rd elective, which is understanding vocal variety. The title of his presentation is Where Were You? As always, it's interesting to hear a fabulous storyteller tell us this wonderful tale. Here he is, K.O. Nunu.
you all day. Where were you? Growing up in Ghana, West Africa, my parents had rules for the house. This particular rule, I thought, applied only to me. Maybe it was because I was the only son among 3 daughters, and therefore the deep desire to get out of the house as often as I could and play with my friends. But the rule was always be sure to ask an adult before you leave the house, so that we know where you are, just in case. Not an unreasonable rule, except that when I went to ask, Mom, Dad, do you mind if I step out and play with my friends? The general response was, well, have you done your chores? Have you fed the goats? Have you taken care of the chickens? That was a drag. So I came up with a different approach. I look left. I look right. I ease my way around the building and dash across the street, up the stairs and around the neighbor's house and out of sight. I was on my way to my favorite playing spot. This was the home of Archbishop Kojo Emisa. This was the first archbishop in Ghana, all of Africa in fact. That wasn't the big deal. The big deal was the compound where his house was located. Guess what? Fruit trees. Oh my. Fruit trees of all kinds. I'm talking guava, pears, apples of all kinds, but especially the mangoes. Have you ever had fresh mango? I'm not talking about mango that has been gassed overnight, forced to ripe. I'm talking mango that has fallen by its own volition to the floor in the middle of a rainstorm. You don't even have to climb the tree. Anyway, so I would go out there and I would just feast. But one day I snuck out there and just hanging out and just having a good time. I was there probably for 4 or 5 hours. I decided maybe it's time to go home. I came around the neighbor's house and stopped dead in my tracks, because in front of our house was a black Jeep. And in Ghana, only police officers drive black Jeeps. That's not a good sign. Add to that an ambulance with the lights flashing. Something has happened. So I made my way there, and around the corner somebody started shouting, "Where were you? Where were you? We've been looking all over for you. Your sister was involved in a car accident this morning. We've been looking all over for you so your mother could leave you in charge of the children and go and see about your sister." Somebody came to pull me by the hand into the house. Mom had already packed her bag. She was panting, sat me down, gave me some money. Take care of your siblings. Out, down the veranda, into the ambulance, down the hill. They were gone. Those were the days before cell phones. You couldn't just call and check in. So I waited several hours, all night. No word from Accra. 2 hours away, in fact. Finally, the next day, probably around 9 o'clock in the morning, a knock at the door. It turns out one of the neighbors went with my mom, and now he had come back. "Well, take a seat," he said. I sat down. He said, "Your sister suffered from internal bleeding. Had surgery last night. Lost her spleen. We almost lost her. But it sounds like she'll be fine." Relief. Relief. Because you guessed it, I've been thinking all night, if anything happens to my sister, whose fault is it? It would be me. Because if I was home or somewhere to be found very easily, my mom could get in the car quickly and everything would be better. So I've been struggling all night. So now this word was a word of relief. That was the day I finally learned the very simple rule. It's not complicated. It's not difficult. Just let somebody know before you leave the house. Now, to my defense, our sheep and goats were kept in a concrete garage. They were kept in there overnight. Think of the temperature in Ghana, very hot. When you came to open the door to the garage in the morning, you had to get out of the way because the heat, the stench, the smell. So you open the door and get out of the way. Nobody looked forward to that chore. And so I used to sneak out. This was the day I learned. There is a reason why Mom says, let somebody know before you leave the house. Mr. Toastmaster.
Very good as always, and we'll be looking forward to Nancy's evaluation of him in a while. Now it's time for table topics. And I have a round of table topics for us. As always, carry them in my hip pocket. So, since today is new beginnings, and our word of the day is imperative, make sure you give me credit for saying imperative again.
Twice.
I want to know, the first question is this. Of the things that you are considering that you need to change in regards to Toastmasters and your speaking ability, what is the thing that's most imperative for you to change today? Ariel.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Today, the thing that is most imperative for me to change is the shuffling of priorities to put Toastmasters up above maxing and chillaxing in front of the TV or with a book. Books are my downfall. Books or it is imperative because I've learned that if I don't plan it, I don't do it. And so whenever I make my plan for the day, which is typically very flexible because I have a small infant who is not on a sleep schedule yet, and two toddlers who seem to have some kind of sixth sense where as soon as I start to go do something else or I get organized and I'm ready to start the dishes or Toastmasters, Mommy, I need something. Mommy, I need help. Mommy, I need to go potty. Their favorite one. So if I can set aside a time whenever I know that my husband is there to wrangle the youngins and let me focus on preparing my next speech, which is a research speech, so actually requires more prep than I have put together so far, then I believe I can keep moving forward and accomplish the goals I have. Thank you.
Part of change is giving up the past and moving forward. Larry, what is it imperative for you to give up for you to move forward?
The
there's a lot of things we give up. We have garbage, you know. I had a girlfriend one time that she used to keep a little trash bag in her purse, and if she ever went out with somebody and they started throwing trash at her, you know, she'd pull out the garbage bag and give them to her and say, you know, dump it in here, not on me. You know? I think that just we all have garbage. I call them ghosts in my life that we need to give up, get rid of, and not always we do that. You know, my wife says, "What is it bugging you today?" You know, she's a good one. She thumps me as a good friend, as a I think for me, you know, just all around really good friend. And but to give up the things that you don't want to have, I mean, it bog you down every day. You know, a new day, a new beginning. It's every day, I think, like that. And I think to use the word imperative, you have to do that, because if you don't, you're going to just get pulled down and pulled down and pulled down. And that's what happens to me. I got thin skin sometimes, a little bit, and I guess it's because I like people and like doing things and want to please people. That's part of my personality. One of the things, the DNA that I get from my mother, I guess. And but just to do that, you know, to get rid of that and don't worry about things and just play every minute, every day. So that's what I like to do.
Thank you very much, Wes. Appreciate it. Rebecca. Part of the change process of giving up the past is the consideration or the pondering of possibilities and selecting that best direction to move forward. So these days, what do you find yourself pondering the most?
That's a very good question, and you asked a very good person that question, because I've pondered that a lot recently. I am 5 years away from retirement according to Social Security. I don't know about according to our budget, but Social Security says 5 years. And I love photography. I would take pictures every day, every minute of every day, if I could. And so in my head, I've been figuring out, where would you like to go to fulfill this need within? It's a compassion. Although I have many other compassions, it's a very strong one in my life. And it is a road to retirement for me, something to look forward to. Although I try to practice every day, have my camera, I travel with it everywhere I go. So that helps me as I look toward those 5 more years. That's not a short period of time in my mind. I would really like it to go quicker. Don't have the financial part figured out to make that happen quicker. So photography sustains me as I move into my goal of retirement. I have joined several photography clubs, so that helps me keep that compassion strong and learn each day as I take pictures and learn what I did wrong, learn what I did right. So moving forward, that is what I'm focusing on, and I want to complete the work I've started at Safe House and make sure they're in good shape before I leave, but retirement is just a few steps away. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have plenty of time. We're still ahead of 12:30, so I'm going to call on Nancy. Nancy, the question I have for you about change and doing the imperative thing, doing the right thing, what is it that you hold on to and cling to, you must let go? And what new habit will replace it?
That's deep. Thank you, Table Topics Master. What I should let go so that I can move on and replace the habit with a good habit, a different habit. And one of them is watching a lot of television. That's one of my, apart from reading books, I love reading books. But that's also, watching television is another big, I can say bad habit because I overdo it. One thing that I would like to replace that habit with is to do more reading, because I have a lot of books that I buy. Every good book that I see, I buy, but I don't allocate the time to read because I'm watching a lot of television. So it's replacing that habit with reading a lot of books and also learning new skills. And I'm a graphic designer. I mostly concentrate on print work, but I have all these different ideas and passions that I would like to progress towards. Just like Rebecca talking about retirement, I would like to transition my graphic design work to totally different area. So allocating time to build on those skills. So I would like to replace watching a lot of television with building my graphic design skills and reading more self-help books. Thank you.
Tara. Imperative brings about immediate and urgent change. But what's one habit you've not been treating so urgently that you probably ought to change?
Thank you, Table Topics Master. I have a lot of habits I probably should change. There's some more important than others. There's some that I had changed and have fallen away from that I need to get back to. So probably one of the biggest ones urgently, I learned this morning really I need to bring back. I used to get up about 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, and I would give myself time to just relax in the morning before everybody gets up. I'd do stretches, I'd do some meditation, I'd do a little bit of reading, and I just felt so refreshed in the day, and it was just a good start to my day. I was a better parent waking my kids up, and I was probably kinder to my husband because I wasn't so stressed. But then sleep is just something I love too. And so every day I was gradually kind of just hitting that snooze button a few more times, and I've gotten back into the habit of just waking up in enough time to get myself ready and shove kids out the door, and really frustrating. Well, this morning my daughter had to be at school very, very early to go on a Silver Dollar City trip with the middle school kids for 8th grade, and she had to be there at 6:30, which meant I had to get up really early and get myself ready to get her there. So I did that, and it was fine. I got sleep. It's not like I go to bed super late, and I got her there and get home, and I still had a little bit of time to relax while my son got ready and everything, and it was like, man, I really need to get back in this habit. So I know I've told myself tomorrow I'm gonna get back in that habit. So that is definitely a habit I need to start back tomorrow.
Thank you very much. So thank you for sharing your thoughts and sharing those. I hope that was challenging enough for you to make you think about things that need to change. Now I'm going to turn it over to our speech evaluator, Nancy, who will help KO polish and improve his performance. Yeah,
Carrie, your speech was basically you're focusing on your vocal variety. And your volume was loud, was good. I liked your introduction. You captured us immediately because of your loud voice. And also as you went ahead, I loved also your, apart from vocal variety, I loved your hand gestures. The way you described trying to get out of the house to go to your friend's house, the way you also used your body movement, and also the way you described someone pulling your hand, and you just showed us how it was done. So I liked those areas. what I would like you to work on is when you're using your volume, your speech, your loud, you tend to forget about the emotion part. When you started asking, where are you? That sounds somebody is panicked. So you are asking the question, but it didn't go with your expression on your face. So try to match up your pitch, your volume with whatever you're trying to portray. Another area that also, and that also applies to when you are talking about asking your parents if you could go out and visit with your friends, I expected you to use a childlike voice. Because you used your parents' voice, because you were stunned, you were serious when you said your parents asked you, have you done this, have you done this? But your voice as a kid, try to use a childlike to give us that, to put us in that situation, to see that little boy asking the parents. Apart from that, they're matching up your emotion or facial expression with your volume. Everything else was good. Your pitch was good, your tone was good, your volume was good, and your pace. I loved very much when you are describing the scene outside your house, about the jeep, the ambulance outside the house. You took a pause and let us visualize that image, that scenery. I liked that. One last thing that I would like you to work or watch is you are putting your hands in your pockets. Yeah, once in a while you put one hand in your pocket, next time you put both of them in your pocket. And when you placed at the beginning you started so well with your hands on the side, but as the time went by, you'd put your hands right here and play with them. Yeah, but good job on the speech, the tone, the volume, also the pace of the speech was very good. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now I'll turn over to our general evaluator to call on our helpers, tell us how we did today. Don.
All right, great evaluation. This is one of the things I've got to work on. And Caleb can be challenging because he's always so good.
Yes.
So I commend you on your speech evaluation. I know that's something I have to work on more. I've got to do more speech evaluations. All right, well, we're going to go to our helpers now, and our first helper will be Ariel. Would you let us know how we did on our time?
We all know it is imperative that we maintain a professional atmosphere and keep the meeting moving on time. And today we were stellar. KO's speech, his requested time was 5 to 7 minutes, and his actual time was 6 minutes and 38 seconds. So right in the sweet spot there is perfect. The table topics, I had a time of 1:41, Larry's was 1:31, Rebecca's was 1:52, Nancy's was 1:43, and Tara gets the gold with 1:53. Right there, 2 minutes. Really great. And lastly, Nancy's evaluation was 2 minutes and 52 seconds.
Wow.
So
Right.
exactly perfect. Great work, guys.
Thank you, Ariel, and great work to everybody else too. That's awesome. All right, and our grammarian and awe counter, would you let us know how we did on all of our ums, ahs, and grammatical?
I think that might be an incorrect usage. Okay, so for the grammarians, I didn't hear a whole lot of incorrect usage of the English language. Everybody did pretty good. The word of the day was heavily used. Mark gets the gold star for the day. I chose 6 times. Ariel, you used it 3. You were second. A couple more times, Don and Larry. As far as the awe counter, was our favorite for the day. So was our close second. So, but we did really good. There wasn't a whole lot of repeats and phrases that were incorrect. I mean, we sounded pretty good today.
All right. All right. Well, even though it's a small meeting, what do we got? 7, 8 people here. That's not a bad meeting for a summertime meeting. we need to keep working on getting more people. We've got more members in there, so we need to get them all in here. So, working on that. And Dick's not here, but we're gonna still go forward with the number of our tear off a little corner. I don't know if Rebecca's been here for this before. Yeah, you have. So we'll rate our meeting. And one thing I wanna say about, before you write your number down, Dick has emphasized that we tend to rate ourselves high, even though, just like today, we had a kind of a empty agenda. It wasn't full, so we shouldn't rate ourselves high if we've lost some of those, if we're missing some of the basics. Attendance and the members, or the roles filled. So keep that in mind when you're writing down the number. And then a little reason why your number is what it is. Who wants to take the numbers? And Dick's been working those.
I can,
You wanna take those?
yeah, I just add them and text them. That's all we need to do.
Okay,
Add them, average it and
and
text
then
them.
we'll have Dick,
Yeah.
Dick can report back next week.
Yeah, okay. Okay, yeah.
Alright, kind of a neat little tool, I think maybe enhancing that a little bit with the way we talked about it last week would probably be a good, without getting it too laborious, trying to figure, trying to come up with a way to rate ourselves better, I think would be a good thing. So, overall though, fun meeting, it's always good to be here. So with that, I'm going to, I guess, turn it back over to our Toastmaster to open it up for Happy Bucks.
Yeah. So, what are people happy about today? I've already put a buck in, I'm happy, I'm gonna get that book done. It's been a 6-month thing hanging out there, and it's over! So we're done, so cool. Yes?
Well, I sold my car, one of those things that I have a 1981 280ZX that I bought in 2000 to restore, and I've never been able to get just focused on it, so I just sold it and got it down there. It's all in pieces. The guy took it out yesterday, and that's in preparation for making a little area there in my shop where it's gonna be for all my vending supplies and machines and office for my new business that I'm working on.
New beginnings,
Yes.
good, got rid of the old, got new. Anybody else have anything they are happy for?
Happy change.
Happy change, yeah.
I am officially and effectively ending my self-imposed maternity leave in my business, and so I'm making appointments and trying to get out there. So if you know anybody who wants to learn about health and wellness and essential oils, then give me a ring.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Back to the night.
Yes, Rebecca.
I am proud to say that I mailed my 2 grants this week that I have had on my desk for a while,
Cool.
a week early. These grants are like 60-page grants, and they both went in the mail, one yesterday, one today, and I'm very excited.
Excellent, good job. Anybody else? Okay. Then, if there's nothing else to do, yes, Kale?
I do have a number to announce,
Go
if
right
we are
ahead.
ready for it. Self-imposed grade for today is 6. 6. And what is indicated here for many of us is that the roles were not filled before we got here. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Anything else for the good of the order? We're well ahead of time, but that doesn't mean we need to beat a dead horse. We will look forward to seeing you again next week. Larry, thank you very much for coming. I hope you weren't shaken by me imposing table topics on you, but the best way to get in there is to jump right in.
Well, I was here a couple of weeks ago, so I got immediately
You got
Christened.
one then, too. Yeah.
no, very, very interesting.
Okay.
I like that.
What did you think of the meeting second time around?
Good, I'd enjoy this, I really do, so.
Okay.
Sadly, I'll
Fantastic.
be out of town for the next 2 weeks, but,
I'll be here next week, but I'll be gone the week after, so. Anyway, have a great week. We'll see you next Wednesday.
All right,
Have a great
thank you,
week.
everybody.